Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today is a new week. We're all happy to be here. Happy to be anywhere, as Keith Richards says. So last Friday, as I was discussing, this was the special Shabbat before Tisha B'Av, before the 9th of Av, before the 25-hour fast. So if those of you who were fasting, I hope you had an easy fast. And for those of you that were not, like myself, no judgy here. One of the things that we spoke about last week that I thought was quite interesting and wanted to just elaborate on more today, which I will, is this concept of ikigai, this idea of how do we search for meaning, this Japanese idea of finding happiness, of finding contentment in one's life and what one chooses to do. And I wanted to elaborate more because I felt like I didn't really explain it well enough. So that I'll be discussing a bit later. Tomorrow, we have a special podcast with a guest friend of mine, Mark Gregg of 3M Studios will be joining us, who has very different opinions on not necessarily, I don't want to use the word spirituality, but the idea of the role of faith in society, the role of faith in life, in the world and in politics. And so we're going to discuss that. We're going to have an interesting, heated conversation, I imagine. Mark is an atheist, and the name of this is Sympathy for the Devil. Actually, I don't want to label Mark. Mark can introduce himself in terms of that. But we're gonna have a lively discussion on whether God and science, whether theology, there's a place for theology or just a place for faith in our lives, and whether science and religion work together. This is a topic I've always been interested in, and that we'll probably be talking about more in the future, is this idea of whether religion and science can coexist. And I believe that they do. There's this idea that there are two different schools of thought. It's not necessarily schools of thought, they're two different disciplines. I don't like to use the word religion, but what is finding spirituality or trying to answer the meaning of life, which we know is 42, but we're trying to answer the question of what the meaning for life is. And science quantifies it through observation and through mathematics and through testing theories which hypotheses which can become theories. Whereas religion is just trying to explain things anthropomorphically, or trying to explain things to find the meaning behind human existence, but not necessarily the reason behind human's existence. Now what do we call God? What is God? What is the universe? What is the things that we don't know? How to explain the things that we don't understand? So I believe that religion and all the world religions have used similar languages. And if you study from the Eastern religions to the Western religions, you see that there is a very common thread of human understanding that runs through them all. So we're going to be discussing that a little bit. Before we start on that, I kind of want to do a little rant. And this is a COVID rant. Now, I'm not a COVID denier. I think everyone should get vaccinated and boosted. But there seems to be a lot of confusion about what one should do. And I'm living in a household where my wife has had COVID and took the Paxlovid. So all these commercials, and this is why I wanted to have my rant, is that when you watch television, you see an exorbitant amount, an unparalleled amount of medical commercials advertising these drugs are going to keep us alive. Many of them do, but why do we have to advertise them? Then you see the Paxlovid one, and it says there's no even warning. What does it do to your body? We don't know. So that doesn't necessarily mean that, God forbid, I should get COVID because I'm immune compromised. I will take the Paxlovid because there is at this point no other alternative if you are in risk of getting severely ill. So with that said, that's enough of my COVID rant. By the way, San Diego Comic-Con's COVID policies, maybe next year, if you're listening, San Diego Comic-Con 2023, maybe make it a little easier for those of us who are immune compromised to not necessarily be exposed. But I don't know how you're going to do that. I know logistically it is very difficult. So anyway, I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on this idea of ikigai. When you look at the diagram, I'm going to share my screen with you. So if you look at this diagram here we go. I got it right up. Can everybody see the diagram? So if you look at the diagram, and I'm going to do my little cursor over here. So ikigai, I believe ikigai is very similar to the Kabbalistic tree of life map, which we could talk about another time. What does Kabbalah have to do with this much more logical form of how to find meaning, right? The reason for being, right? Ikigai. And this is kind of a scientific idea, if you look at it, psychological. So you see these different circles and they interlap. So what is it you love doing? So sometimes what you love doing can be your passion. It can also be your mission. What are you good at, though, doesn't necessarily coincide with what you love doing. I love drawing, but I'm a terrible artist when it comes to as a visual artist. So I'm not even going to pretend to try and do that for a living. So the trick is, and if we see this, we see what are you good at? Love? What do you love? What are your passions? What do you feel like your mission is? Is my mission to make this a better world? What are you good at? So you could be good at, say, public speaking or playing guitar or music or accountancy, whatever it is, and maybe you have a passion for it, but how do you make that passion your mission? And then at the same time, we have your profession, your 9-to-5 job, that which makes you a living. And sometimes and that's what we were kind of talking about. People think the grass is greener. They go to work every day. They may not do things that they love. They get to this point in their lives where they say, well, this is just a kind of I love doing video, so I want to become a video professional. But maybe I'm not good at it yet enough to get paid for it. I hate to admit it, but it's important for you to get paid. It's important for you to get paid an adequate salary to show that you are worth something. And then when you get to the idea of when you find something that you are passionate with and that you love doing and that you're actually good at and you get paid for, then it becomes your vocation. And then you look into that and say, well, what does the world need? So we're fulfilling all these things at the same time when we can find something that we're good at, that we have passionate about, that can become our profession. It no longer becomes a profession, it becomes a vocation. And that, I believe, is how you find this kind of ikigai, your the sweet spot right here in the middle. It looks like a flower. If you look at it, it's kind of cool. But when you can find that ikigai, that old saying that when you do something that you love, you've never worked a day in your life. But that's not something that just can come to you overnight. It's something that you have to work on. I'm going to turn off all my notifications next time. I apologize. Never apologize. I believe in never apologizing. So in a similar sense, when you find your ikigai, when you can find an excitement, something you do, that's how you find satisfaction. A friend of mine that introduced me to this concept of ikigai explained that there are people that live in Okinawa there are more amounts of, there's a greater proportion of people who are octogenarian and over on this particular island in Japan, because they find what they do that they love that serves the community. And I believe that is a universalistic spiritual concept. Word spiritual, I believe it has a place. It has a perfect place in finding balance in your life. And people can call it by different words, but I believe that spirituality is an important aspect. And that's something we'll discuss tomorrow, whether it's spirituality or it's something else. But really, it's just finding purpose. It's finding meaning. And that can be either in what you do for a living, or in how if you don't need any money, then it might be something that you're good at that you can help and use to make the world a better place, which is sorely needed right now. And we're seeing all of this this the war that is starting to spill over in Israel right now. And that is another topic that is of concern, personal concern for me, as I have family living under the rockets, the alarms that go off, and possibly children who may have to fight. I prefer that would not be the case. I'd like there to be peace for both Israelis and Palestinians, that we should all kind of find that common ground. And that's sorely what the world is missing. The world has seemed to forget about the war in Ukraine. It was popular at one point to just keep talking about it and to do benefits for it, but this war's dragging on. The toll on human life drags on, and people don't really, if it's not right in front of you on the media, then you kind of forget about it. Kind of forget about the world, what is happening in the world. And so what can we do to make that better? Well, I believe that we can find our ikigai. We can see what is it the world needs? What is it that I can offer the world? And that is a very similar concept in Kabbalah. And I'm going to leave you this little teaser. This is a short one this week. And my little teaser is, if you look at the Kabbalistic tree of life, which defines all these different attributes of how the divine or the universe reacts metaphysically with humanity, you can draw a parallel within the human psyche as well. The different concepts, and when we talk about the different levels of the brain, the different levels of the psyche, the different levels of human action, of human charity, of human kindness. It's very similar in a way to finding that balance of ikigai. And the idea of yin and yang is another idea of finding that balance. And finding balance, this is my message for today, is the universalistic concept of finding balance. And that's what we need to do to find in our society. Get away from the extremes of the absolute right and the absolute wrong, and find that middle ground, find that place for conversation. And so I'm going to plug one more time tomorrow my special Sympathy for the Devil with my guest, Mark Gregg. If you like this, you like this live stream, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Go to my YouTube channel and the Rabbinic Cynic YouTube channel, and hit like and subscribe. And we can keep this vlog going. Tomorrow we were going to be getting into some nitty-gritty of some theology and anti-theology and the impact of religion on politics. And this is going to be an ongoing conversation. So to send you off, just love to say, everybody have a great week and a wonderful Monday, and be safe out there. And let's pray for peace in the world. Bye, everybody. Love you. Live long and prosper.